Welcome to Wisdom Exchange TV. My name is Suzanne F. Stevens, Chief Edge Optimizer for the Ignite Excellence Group of Initiatives. One of our initiatives is the Ignite Excellence Foundation. Matter of fact, our guest that is here today joined me in Canada for the first ever Ignite Excellence Foundation conference, where we raised $30,000 for women leadership in Africa. Wisdom Exchange is a resource to help women learn, lead, and succeed in life, business, and community. And this is an education site, and the interviewee will provide expertise in her area that she's been working in for years, as well as leadership lessons that you don't want to miss. It is a forum where women of all disciplines will learn from trailblazers, pioneers, leaders of many in politics, business, education, and philanthropy. These are the African women that are the change agents of companies, communities, country, and ultimately the continent. Today we have a very special guest, and it feels like an old friend I'm interviewing today. We are here interviewing Leah Ngini, which is the founder and director of St. Christopher Schools, kindergarten, preparatory, and secondary school, a private school located in Nairobi, Kenya. It is my honor to be in your home, Leah, and to see you again. And to see you in your home rather than in my home in Canada. So I just want to dive right in, and what was the catalyst for you starting St. Christopher School?
I wanted a school where I'm going to see children who are happy, who are excited to be in school, who don't come to school in the morning carrying their bags feeling like they're being forced to go to school. They want to be there, and I want them to be happy.
What do you do in your school that makes them happy to actually come to school?
We love them, and we show them that we love them, and they are valued. And each one of them is special. And we talk to them, we smile. We don't beat them, we just care for them and love them. And of course, teach them.
Showing a child that they're valued, I would imagine, is a very important part of the education system. And I think often gets ignored.
Yes.
Because children have a way of expressing themselves and challenging our thinking many times. How at St. Christopher School do you demonstrate that they are valued and that their voices are actually being heard?
Oh, we greet, we shake hands, we ask, how are you today? How is home? Are you happy to be here? That sort of thing.
Okay.
And they feel, you can see them build up their confidence as they are walking. And some of them perhaps did not want to leave their mom. The mom is in the car, and they come and, oh, come, let me show you this. Let me show you. And we make them settle and feel that they are comfortable.
What are some of the biggest challenges that you had in starting a school? And tell us how you overcame those.
Now, when we started, of course we didn't have the money to pay for the school, for the services and all that. So we had to borrow money. And borrowing money means paying back. And this was not easy. We know that this has to be paid at this time, and if we have any problems with the payments, then we go and talk with the bank manager, and we tell them what we are going on. So long as you actually put them in the picture, keep them in the picture, what you are doing, they'll go along with you. And we've never really had any problems. We've had people who've supported us.
Let's face it, sometimes it's difficult to make a timely payment. But at least if you're communicating to the bank manager what you're going to do to make that payment, then they have trust in you, and there's a little more leniency when they know you're doing the right steps. Okay, which is really good advice for any business person.
Oh yes.
Is to make sure you have a good relationship with your bank manager.
And keep them informed so that they are working with you.
Yes.
Yeah, and they are friends.
Right.
It's not. Don't look at them as though they are people who want to sell you, who want you to fail, so that they can sell you as property. No, they be good.
You're using the word we, because it's my understanding when you started the school, your husband was alive and very much involved in the process.
Yes.
Now, do you think that had any bearing on the fact that you would get the loans, that your husband was very much involved in the process?
There were times when women could not get loans on their own. No banks really would trust a married woman, especially, getting a loan without the support of the husband, because they didn't think that the women could actually service the loans the way they should. To begin with, this was the case. I think today they are now changing. They've now seen that women can actually do things that they didn't expect. And that sort of thing is changing now. My husband was with me all along, from the very beginning. Would sign the loans together. And then he leaves me to run the business. He has his own. I am the educationist. He says, now that's your business. Go on. And we've never failed. We get the money from the fees that we charge. And so we make sure that we charge so that we can service those loans. And we can manage to keep up and, do the right thing.
I'm going to take the opportunity just to talk about your husband's support
Yes.
of you.
Yes.
Now, when you decided, was it your vision to start a school? Because I know you're the educationalist.
Yes.
So it was your vision.
Yes.
So how did that conversation actually go? When you said to your husband, I want to start a school. Can you tell us about that a bit?
I'm very lucky to have been married to a man who was brought up by a mother. A man who believed in women. Because if it was not for his mother, he wouldn't even have gone to school. When he was young, about 10 years old, he went to work for some people, some European settlers who had taken overland from our area. And he was looking after their calves, their little cows, as a boy. But it's the mother who went there and insisted the boy comes home, he is going to go to school. The mother had that vision. She herself wanted to school but was not allowed. So she knew that education is what will help her son. Her husband died, or my husband's father died, when he was barely 1 year old. So it was now the mother to bring him up. And she was the third wife of the husband. And she was the youngest. So the husband died too early, before her own children had grown up. So she knew she had to do something. And she, I don't know where this came from, but she knew education was what was going to help her husband. So my husband believed in the power of women to do things and to make things move. So he had no problem supporting me.
What was it about your husband? When you said you wanted to start this school, did he just always believe in you? Was he a confident man? Like what did he have that made him say it's okay for my wife to succeed without me and beside me?
We have a long history, my husband and I. We were in the same primary school when I started school in 1951, when I was 6 years old. He was in the senior classes. And we went home the same way. We were from the same village. So we've known each other all these years. Of course, at that time, I had no idea. I was only a little child. But my husband later on used to tell me, I knew all along that you are going to be my partner. I loved you from the beginning, and I was going to marry you. And of course, I don't know whether I believed him or not, but that's what he used to tell me. And he was a very kind person, a loving person, who wanted everybody to succeed. He himself went through a difficult time, through high school and all, not having fees, and once being expelled. But the principal of the school went home to actually ascertain that he had no money to pay. And so the headmaster of the school raised money from some missionaries for him to be educated through school. So he went through a difficult time, but he was determined to have his family never suffer the way he did. So he married me. He loved me very much and loved his family. And I'm not exaggerating. He spent time with his family and he loved us. And anything he did was for his family.
Do you think you would be the success you are today without the support of your husband?
He encouraged me a lot. And even when I felt shy, he would say, you can do it. I was about 10 years younger. And I think he felt that he needed to help me along. We got married when I was 21 years old. And he was a lot older. And my mother, I remember my mother telling him, look, she doesn't even know how to cook properly. So please have patience with her. And he was good. He comforted me and strengthened me. And he was my best friend all along.
Thanks for sharing that with us, because I think, one of the things Wisdom Exchange really focuses on is the power of a woman.
Yes.
However, sometimes, and we could be powerful on our own, some of us could be powerful on our own, but with a partner, it can be that much more of a force to be reckoned with.
Yes.
And so thank you for sharing that with us. Please share with us your philosophy on educating boys and girls. What are some of your philosophies that you instill at St. Christopher's School?
I wanted the girls to have the confidence that they can do as much, no, even better than what boys can do. I was teaching geography and mathematics. And I will see like the children are different, the girls are different. When I'm teaching girls, everybody wants to answer. They know this, they know that. When I go to teach maths, they don't want it. They are shy. They kind of move back.
The girls?
And, the
okay.
girls.
Okay.
And they are not the same girls anymore that I saw when I was teaching geography. And then I would ask them, why are you like this? To begin with, I thought it was me, the teacher, who was the problem. But then when I saw how excited they would be in geography and how then they are different in maths, I realized, no, there's something. So I asked the girls, what is wrong? Why are you not interested in maths the way you are in geography? They said, oh, we can't do maths. It's for boys. And we've been told many times. They were taken through primary school feeling that girls cannot do maths. That's for boys. I tell them, no, you can. Look, I am a woman like you, and I'm doing maths, and I enjoy it. I happen to have gone through girls' schools all along, so I never really, only the first 3 years in school did I have boys in the same class. All along I was with boys. And we were never brought up to think that there are things we cannot do, but only boys can. But a lot of these girls felt like that. So I would tell them, look, you can, and you can. And I wanted a school where I'll have boys, and I'll have girls, and I'll make sure that those girls compete with those boys. And they'll know that, yes, they can do as much as they can, even if not better. And they have excelled in the St. Christopher schools.
Lots there. With St. Christopher schools,
yes.
What are you doing specifically that makes a girl feel that she is capable in math or in any sort of subject?
I've got teachers who are well trained and who are mentors in themselves. And they're always talking to these students. They are talking to the boys, they are talking to the girls. There are times when we separate them and we just talk about the women, the girls. There are times we separate, and the boys, they will talk to them as boys. We invite parents to come, the men to come and talk with the boys and mentor them and encourage them and teach them how to be men. And we invite mothers who are going to talk to girls and teach them how to be mothers and how to stand on their own in life.
What are some of the specific things that you're looking for in your teachers?
First of all, they must be trained. They must have the qualifications, a university degree, a teacher training certificate. They need to be people who went into education because they wanted to, not because it was the only thing open for them. Because they love teaching. They love molding young people. That I try to get out of them, so that as they are coming in, I know they are not just coming for a job, while they are waiting to go somewhere else because they don't like teaching. I'm able to tell, as I am talking to them, whether they are really people who care and who love you. I talk a lot with the teachers, and I let them know my feeling and the way I see it, my focus. They understand from the very beginning. When I interview them, I tell them and I talk to them. And I tell them that those children are very, very special. You've got to love them. You may not love me, but you've got to love those children that you are teaching. And if I find that you actually don't love them, you don't care, then you don't fit. So this is something I emphasize very much on the teachers when I'm interviewing them for the job. They've got to love those children and care for them and love them like their very own.
Is there anything specific that you can see in them and how they communicate with you that you're saying, they really do care and they really do want the best for the children?
When I see the teacher and the students and they are communicating well, the rapport is good, then I know that is the right kind of teacher. If I find that the students are scared of a teacher, then I know there is something there, and I try and look out for it.
What sort of things do you do to get your staff not only motivated, but make sure that they're teaching to the level that you want them teaching, they have the same philosophies, that sort of thing?
Now they have meetings with the headmaster and with the deputy heads who are supporting them. I have taken a back role now after so many years, and I want now to these young people to move on with the vision that I have. They are easily controlled because past every section, for example, head of science, head of the humanities, head of the languages, and they communicate often with the deputy heads in charge. And the deputy heads in charge to communicate a lot with the headmaster. So that every week there is a meeting with the headmaster and the heads and the teachers, kind of going through what is happening and bringing in anything that need to be discussed, any children of concern, anything that has come up that should be dealt with. And of course they are encouraged all through, so that there is a forum where there are discussions about making the school better, making the children perform better, making them feel better being in the school.
I know there's a lot of discussion in the West, and I don't know if it's a discussion here as much, that the school system nowadays tends to be favoring the girls rather than the boys. Do you have any comment on that, or do you execute anything at your school?
Yes, I do realize that for a long time, the girl child was neglected. For a long time, a girl child will go to school only after the boys have been sent to school, and only if there is excess money. The girl was supposed to stay home and learn the trade of looking after her home and the garden from the mother, that sort of thing. And then they were just there to be wives and to be homemakers and all that. Whereas this has changed, and I'm glad and I'm excited that my own mother grew up at such a time when she was the only daughter actually in the home. The others were boys. And so she was made to do all the chores of the home while the boys were enjoying being boys. And she looked at this and said, no, I don't like this. When I have my own family, I'm going to have my boys be treated exactly the same as my girls. And I'm going to have the girls be treated the same as the boys. She happens to have had 5 boys and 5 girls. We all learned to cook. We all learned to clean the house. We all learned to wash our own clothes, to work in the garden, to go to school. And we were all encouraged by our mother to excel in everything. And I remember my mother talking to us as girls and telling us, you know, you have to work very hard. The society doesn't think much of the girls. So you have to do extra hard, to work extra hard to excel in life. And you know, the girls have done very well.
Nowadays, what's happened, and again, this is a Western thing, and I don't know if it's happening here, that now that the girls are catching up, and there's a lot of focus on the girl child in Africa.
Yes.
Are the boys, now that we're on the equal playing field, are boys having challenges with how they're being educated?
I'm glad you asked that, because this is something that has been worrying us. The girls are very well prepared, even for marriage. But the boys have not been mentored properly. The men have kind of taken a back seat in mentoring the children. The men have not mentored their own sons as they should have, and this is something we are complaining about. So that by the time they come to get married, these boys, these young men, do not know what it means to be head of a household. They think that this sitting down and being served by the wife is what it means to be a head of a home. They don't realize that the head of the home provides. The head of the home encourages. The head of the home brings everybody in the home together so that they grow up and they go forward together day by day. They have forgotten their rules, and we realized that our husbands, people of my husband's age, have been so busy trying to make it in life, working hard in their new jobs and making money, and forgetting that there is something very important, the home and the children. While as the mothers are mentoring the girls easily, the boys have been looking up to be taught, to be helped how to be men, and they haven't had that. And this is a gap which is worrying us a lot.
Now, does St. Christopher's do anything to help with that gap?
Yes. We've had meetings with parents, with fathers, and the men teachers, and the boys in the school. We have several meetings like that, so that the fathers, learn to encourage the boys, because we realize that there is a problem there. The boys want to be men, but they don't know how to. So they pick up what they have seen their fathers do. Just sit down and be served all the time. And they think that's it. All we need to do is finish school, get married, and these girls will look after us. And they forgot that they are the ones to look after the homes, if they are going to be the heads of the households. And we have seen a lot today, women being heads of the households, because the husbands have not taken that role. And they end up parting company, because the husband is just there, maybe just occupying space, and not really helping the way they should.
At the risk of going down a path that will take us off where I need to get us to,
right.
I need to ask the question.
Yes.
Does it really matter who's the head of the household? Can it not be both partners?
I know that is what they see in the West.
Mm-hmm.
Both of them are the same. Now, we've been brought up as Christians, and the Bible actually does say that the man is the head of the household. And we have not seen anything wrong with that. So long as they understand what that means. It means the man has to love his wife as he loves himself. That is in the Bible. And once he does that, when he loves his wife like himself, it's so easy for the wife to submit. It's so easy for the wife to go along with him in whatever he's doing, because he loves her, because he brings her into any plans he has for the family, because they sit down together and talk. And that's the way my husband and I brought up our children and grew in our home. We would discuss things together, and when we disagreed, when I didn't like something that my husband wanted to do, and I would tell him I don't like it, he actually didn't do it. He would wait and then introduce it to me in another way and try and persuade me if he really still thinks that he wants to do it. And sometimes I'll give in and say, okay, let's do it. But if I say completely no, he will not, because he wants us to do things together. And he would tell me that he wants us to do things together, to grow together. And sometimes he would see an old couple, and he would say, you see those holding hands, old ones? I want us to be like that when we grow up. Yeah. So I'm missing him now, because we would be together like that. Yes. But he has gone to rest. God's way of doing things, it's okay.
I've also heard that many schools in Nairobi or in Kenya really promote a teaching of memorization, which really I'm pretty passionate about for a number of reasons. One, it stagnates creativity, which is what you need to be an entrepreneur, is creative.
Yes.
And entrepreneurship can get people out of poverty. What is your philosophy at St. Christopher's School? And how do you deal with memorization and that sort of thing?
I'm glad you asked that also, because I started the primary school following two sorts of curriculum. I had the British system and I had the Kenyan system. Now, the Kenyan system I found was overcrowded. There was so much to be done, so much that the students had to be rushed into it, and they had to sit in the evenings doing homework, even late at night. And when they got home, they really had no time to even play around and just enjoy being children, because they had to do the homework. And if they haven't done the homework, the following day, they are in trouble with the teachers, because those teachers are keen to finish the syllabus. And if they don't finish the syllabus, then they get into trouble with the administration. And the children end up not doing well in the exams. And the exams in this country are very, very important. If you don't pass, then you do not have an opening to something better for you in life. You are kind of just left alone. There are many children now who have done the KCPE, this exam, after 8 years of primary education. And when they fail, because they now feel like it is the end of the world, we've heard of many of them committing suicide. Only about 7 cases were reported this time, but there are many others that are not reported. Because a child has failed, the parents say, now what do we do with you? You did not work hard, you didn't work, and the child just doesn't know what to do. And they're only about 14, 15 years old, 16.
Now, just for clarification,
Yes.
Is the Kenyan teaching a lot, is that true, a lot of memory work?
It has to, yes.
Okay.
Because there's a lot that the children must be taught to learn. Because there's so much that is crammed in the syllabus. And that was my complaint. When I saw how much these children are being stressed, then I decided, no, I'm not doing that. I'm going to do this other one. This other one has time. Children have time to be children. They have time to read for enjoyment, not just for the tests, for the exam. This
And that's the British system.
Yes, this system is going to prepare them through the primary school and through the secondary school. They are not going to have an exam at the end of the primary school that is now going to say, you don't go on, you don't go on. They are going to have an exam just to assess them and how they are, where they are getting on. But they are going to go through to high school. By the time they finish high school, they are much older. They are 16, 17, some of them 18. And at that time, even if they didn't want to go through formal school anymore, they are now old enough to be trained in some of those tertiary courses. They are now older. I don't like it when children have to leave school at the age of 14. They are much too young to be able to settle in and start a trade and be taught a trade. They need to be older and more grown up and more prepared.
Now, in the British system, does it allow for more creativity as well?
It does.
Okay.
It does.
Okay.
Yes, and the syllabus is not unmanageable. It's not too crowded.
Now, at this point in your career, at 69 years old,
Yes.
what's been the most significant impact you feel you've made in your career?
Now, I feel that there are many children who have passed through St. Christopher's who have been well prepared for life, because this is where they are going to go. They'll leave school and they'll go into the world. Are they ready for the world? How do they view the world? Do they have a positive attitude to life after school? Do they feel that they are confident, that they are ready to face the world? And this is part of what we teach them, because they've got to be ready and prepared. And a lot of our students have gone out and they've done very well in life. And they come back and actually tell us, if I didn't come to St. Christopher's, I don't think I would have been as prepared for life as I am today.
How many students at St. Christopher's?
Just now, we are about 400, over 400.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, if you were to attribute your success
Yes.
to one thing, an attitude or something
Yes.
you've done,
Yes.
what would that be?
I am a person who loves people. And it doesn't matter whether you are just a sweeper or you are the head of the school. It does not matter. I talk to them all. And I care for them. And I love them. And I tell them, look, if you weren't here to do the sweeping, I may have to do the sweeping myself. And I can't do that. So you are important. If you are the one cleaning the toilets, you are very important. We don't want to use those toilets when they are dirty. And so whatever you are doing, know that you are valued and walk with your head high.
What would be the most challenging aspect of your career?
Well, the biggest challenge I have had, I think, is getting people to walk with me and know my vision and and develop it with the students, because they are the ones that have the contact with the students all the time.
Do you have any strategies that you could share when somebody isn't following you? How do you get them to follow your vision?
I talk. And if I feel that somebody needs help, I call them in my office and we talk. And I tell them, and I give them my history and my personal life. And they feel that, yeah, some of them see me as their mother. And indeed, I have had teachers here whose mothers I taught in high school. And that brings us close together. They don't feel that I am out there and they are down here. We are together. When I meet them, we shake hands. How are you? Are you getting on? It's a very friendly school, let me see. And I go about talking to each one of them. I talk in English to those that only know English or can only understand English from me. Those that don't know English, I speak to them in Kiswahili. Those others who are from my mother tongue, I talk to them in Kikuyu. So that everybody feels that, yes, what she's saying I understand. And that's what I want. I give my teachers scholarships for their children, so that their minds are in the school and not in the school where their children are. So that they are happy to be in the school. They know where their children are. And those children are given lunches. They come in the school buses. They have the same services as all the others who are paying. That way the teacher feels that, yes, this is my school.
Definitely a good strategy, a vested interest in the success of the school, because it's the success of their children.
And they stay for a long time. Yeah. I've had teachers here who have been here for 18 years, for 20 years, for 15 years. Those that come get surprised that they are teachers who have been here for so long. And that is good, because it brings in continuity, which is necessary in any organization.
In a leadership position, sometimes we implement something and it doesn't work. Can you think of something that you did at the school or in a leadership position that you implemented that did not work? And how did you overcome that?
Yes, I told you about the fact that when I started the primary school, I was using two types of syllabuses.
Right.
And I found that one did not work for me, because it does work in many schools. But for me, I did not like it. And I want something that I enjoy. And I don't want to be part of stressing children. And I did see some of them stressed. Some of them even getting ulcers because of the stress. And I had to make a bold step to call the parents or write to them home and tell them, I'm going to discontinue the 844 system. And I'm sorry.
And that was the Kenyan system,
the
correct?
Kenyan system. But I'm going to continue the British system. If you feel that you only want to do the 844, the Kenyan system, then please look for another school. And they did. So that I made that bold step, knowing very well that I'm going to lose children. And I did. I used to have 3 streams. And I ended up with 1 stream, because all those that wanted the Kenyan system went into the schools that are doing that. And you know, when I left with that, I was left with that stream 1. I was happy, because now I said, now the children can be children. There's so much to learn in life. If they do not enjoy being children now, when will they? And I'm happy with what I'm doing. But I had to make that step, even though I now ended up having a smaller school than I had before. But I'm happy.
Well, I was curious about that.
Yes.
So you made that decision. You lost 2 streams.
Yes.
And how many students did you have before you made that decision?
Oh, I had close to 600
Okay.
in all the schools.
So now
We are just over 400.
You're just over 400 now.
Yes.
Did you lose more than that? Now you're building back up?
We lost quite a lot, but with time we've been building
Back. Okay.
Yes.
And have you ever regretted that decision?
Never.
when you go from education to really what you went into is business.
Yes, that's right.
With very different things.
Yes.
What were some of the key things that you learned at the beginning, if you recall, that really helped you become a profitable and successful growing school?
Before I started, I hadn't had any experience in running a school, in that I was not a head teacher. I was an ordinary teacher, but one with eyes to see what the heads are doing, and therefore learn by example, learning from the heads who are there, but enjoying teaching because I love teaching and I love students. So when I started, I knew I had that problem, that I have not run a school before. Now, what is it going to be like? I've never had to pay teachers. Where is this going to come from? I've never decided how much fees the children are going to pay. When we were in the government schools, all that came from the government. Now I'm running a private school. How do I do things? So I had that challenge. But I'm one who learns, and learns quickly from experience. And that's how I started.
Did you see that there was going to be any obstacles along the way?
There were times when I couldn't make ends meet. My husband would come in and support me. But for as long as I'm paying all the workers, I am paying my loans, I didn't really care how much more money I made. And even today, so long as I'm paying my loans, I'm paying all the teachers, and I'm able to live, that's all I care for. I'm not here to make big money, make big investments elsewhere. I'm here to enjoy and make a difference in life, in my society.
Now, how did you convince a teacher to join you without any track record of running a business?
There are many people in Kenya who have been trained as teachers but have not got jobs. Or there are some who had jobs where they were not happy and wanted to join a private school. Private schools, by the way, pay a lot better than the government schools.
Yeah.
Some of them will come because of the money that is being that they are being paid. Some of them will come because the school has a face, has somebody they talk to who is there, not out there in the Ministry of Education, where they can't not go because of the hierarchy, the protocol, the bureaucracy. Here they have somebody there on the job, hands-on. And there are people who are like that, who want to make a difference in that school, but be part of what the owner of the school wants to be. And they come and own the school. That's what I love. They talk about the school, our school, and I like that.
I call this our edginess insight. Something that you've had to do that makes you uncomfortable and it pushes your comfort zone. But you need to continue to do it in order to appreciate the success that you have.
Yes, Suzanne. I do not like getting rid of somebody I know. I don't like firing anybody. Because once I start working with somebody, I get to love them. And I like feeling that they are part of my family. But when I find that this person is just not doing the things that I want him to do or her to do, this person is not just getting into the flow of the school and the philosophy of the school and what we want, then, and especially if they don't get along with the students, or they treat the students like, you don't really matter, I feel very sad. But I tell them to go. And they may not know how much I agonize about that, but I have to do, because I have to go on. School has to go on. That is one thing I don't like, but I have to do. I also don't like following up fees defaulters. There are parents who bring their children and they promise they will pay school fees, and then they don't. We usually tell them school fees must be paid within the first 2 weeks. The parent comes in and tells me about the business that they are running and how they are having trouble and how they cannot pay all the money in one go, but they will be paying in bits and pieces. I say, okay, I understand. Then do it. And whatever you say, then make sure you actually do it, and then they don't, and then they go on, and then I have to follow them. I have to listen to many people telling me their problems and why they can't pay fees. Sometimes I carry those problems and I feel for them, but then I have to run the school. So what do? And I tell them, look, then you have to go to a school where you can actually afford. But they say, but then I like this school. I like this school, and my children love this school. Then, I say, okay, I give you a bit of time. But if it doesn't come through, then I have to tell you, I'm sorry, you have to go. That also hurts me, but I have to do it.
Now, what would you say was the biggest obstacle that you had to overcome to get to this point and to get to the 400 plus students?
Providing what the market needs. That is a big thing. Because you hear this school has done this or this school has done that, but you haven't done that yet. And so you try to keep up with whatever is going on. We have to overcome hurdles, and a lot of the hurdles are really finances. You have to go step by step, because you can say, you tell the contractor, look, I have only this, so they do a little. Like just now, we built this new school. I haven't marketed it because I haven't had money to market the new school. But I'm going to do that so that people know we've got a beautiful school. We haven't had money now to do the fences so that children can see, parents can see that there is a new school there. Because they come and say, my goodness, we didn't know there was a school. And it is beautiful. But we are going to do it. I always say, so long as I'm able to meet my commitments, that's how I came.
What would success mean to you?
To me, success is actually just see children happy. I emphasize that. I know I keep saying that. But my success is seeing children happy.
How many teachers do you have at the school?
We have close to 50.
Okay. So how would you, obviously as a leader, keep them motivated?
We organize seminars that really are to motivate the teachers. I get outsiders to speak and to motivate them and to bring in, things that maybe they were taught when they were being trained as teachers, but have kind of faded, gone into them behind, and they've forgotten. So they need to be reminded and to be challenged and to now learn to focus on what they have to face.
If you were to define leadership, what does leadership mean to you?
It's being a servant leader. Being there with them. Letting them know that there is nothing they are doing that I wouldn't do. And I am there working with them. If it is in the garden, Suzanne, I'm there showing them the weeds and bringing out the weeds from our vegetables. We grow a lot of our own vegetables. And the ones who are working there know that I work there too. The ones who are working in the kitchen know that I also go and check what they are doing. And I work with them. And there's nothing I don't do. Those who are working with, I'm always walking around and moving around and working with them. So they know I am part of the workforce of this school. I am not at the top there, thinking that others are down there working for me. No, I'm working with them all the time.
So as a leader, what do you find are 3 most powerful pieces of advice you can give to someone trying to lead a project or a team or an initiative?
I would say, be friends with the people you are working with. Let them know that you are in it as much as they are. Communicate with them and let them know that you are walking along together. Whatever you are doing, you are in it together. Get personal, even with the employees. Let them know that they can confide in you. And you are not going to tell others about sorts. Sometimes they want to talk to me about starting their own school. How did you get here? What did you do? And I'm happy to share with them how far I've gone and how I started and what I've been doing. Share with them and talk with them. I don't bear a grudge on people, because there are times when I quarrel with somebody. There's something that has not worked well, and we fight. No, not fight physically.
Yeah.
And I challenge them, And they may feel that, oh dear, I'm in trouble. I have to run away. Once finished talking and you have understood, that's it. I've forgotten that. Let's move on. Let's move on. No, let them know that you care. For example, when we had problems after the last elections, I don't know whether you had.
Yes.
We had problems.
Very much.
I housed a lot of my people who were afraid of being attacked because of their ethnic background. Those that had their houses around Nairobi, and this is generally a Kikuyu land. When the Kikuyus learned that their people are being beaten in Rift Valley and wherever else, and so some of my people now felt challenged and threatened. So I told them, come. I have many little houses here with their families, and they did. I even removed some of the things I had in the store in the primary school, in Kilimani, the old primary school. I had lots of rooms that were stores. I removed those things and I cleaned those rooms with my people, myself. We cleaned together to bring these people in with their things so that they feel safe. And they stayed there 6 months until it was now safe to go back. Because I don't care what tribe you come from. We are many tribes in this country. And I tell them when I am interviewing them, I don't care what tribe you come from. So long as you are a human being, made in the image of God, you are my kind of person. You are like me, and I am like you. And I don't care what language you speak. So we'll come, we work together. And don't ever think about what tribe you come from. I've told my teachers and my workers, once you enter the main gate, use the language that people understand. Because if you use your own, in the staff, for example, people may not know what you're talking about. And they might think that you're talking about them. So I don't know what. Use a language that everybody understands. And let's work together. Not caring where you come from. Why should I care? Where you come from. Yeah? That is important to me.
Now, if there was one thing you could have done differently in pursuit of your success, what would that be?
Maybe I could have involved my sons in this more. The men in my family. The way we did it, my husband worked with the boys. And I liked that. And I worked with the girls. But there came a time, especially when their father died, that I felt, no, perhaps I should have involved my sons as well in this. Because now I am missing that male feel that I had. Not because there would be a lot that they would change, but just to feel that, yes, I've got my daughters, I've got my sons too in this.
It seems almost odd to ask you this question, but what's next for you?
Next for me, Suzanne, I'm going to retire now.
Oh, good. Now, what would you do in retirement?
Still be around.
Yes.
And be seen. And be a bit of a nuisance because I want to know what is going on. I want to hear what is going on. And just walk around, enjoy the company of the children, and walk around here and encourage whoever is there. I don't have to be there now to make the policies and all that, and to check are the teachers following the syllabus and all that. There are people to do that.
Your daughters they now work with you.
Yes.
So they're not 10 years old anymore.
No, they're not even.
But I am going to ask you a question.
Yes.
Knowing what you know today,
Yes.
and let's say one of your daughters was 10 years old. So you're approaching 70, but one of your daughters is 10 years old. What words of wisdom would you give to your daughter at 10 years old today?
I would tell her to believe in herself. She is important. Nobody should ever bring her down because she's a girl. I would tell her, look, when I was growing up, girls were not really thought they were important, other than being people who are going to serve the men in the home. But today, we know that you are as important as anybody else. So go for it. Work hard. View life as something that you must conquer, because you are good and you are able, you are intelligent. I'll support you as much as I can, but go for it.
What do you wish you were told when you were 10 years old?
I think I would have wanted to be told that life is not all that easy, generally. My mother was very good at telling us, you got to work hard. The society doesn't think much of you. You have not been brought up like the other girls in the village, and that is the way we were brought up. We were not like the others, because we were not going to be circumcised. My mother refused, and so we were not going to be part of the village life. So we actually did feel a bit isolated, because from school we had to go home. We were not allowed to go to their homes, in case when they are doing those things, they take us also. Our relatives, our uncles and the others were doing that, but my mother, no, said never. She did not see any advantage in what she went through. And she saw how many women died trying to give birth, where the cut cannot stretch anymore because of the scar, and many women bled to death, and children died. And because my mother was a midwife as well in the hospital, and she said, this I will not have for my children. And so she told us things that have helped us all along. I was able to tell my girls, you are as important to me as the boys, and there's no difference between you and the boys. I happen to have 2 girls and 2 boys. My mother had 5 girls, 5 boys. And I've taught my daughters that it is important for them to go through life knowing that life is there to be enjoyed, and there are challenges, but there are no challenges that are beyond their ability to believe in themselves. They've gone to school, they've each got a degree, a bachelor's degree and a master's degree. Follow your dream and see that you acknowledge, you achieve what it is that you want to achieve in life.
I always find it interesting with through interviews and my personal experience. I had the pleasure of meeting your mother, and
she's here today.
Good. And to know that the women, the mothers that bring the children up equally, they, as you already said, they take care of the home. Your boys learned how to cook too?
Oh, yes.
Okay, so the fact that they're treated as equal, that's the way I was brought up.
Yes.
And those seem to be, just an observation, the most liberal-minded, but also the most driven women and boys, when it's no longer about your sex, it's about you as an individual.
Yes.
Our final question is, what words of wisdom do you have for African women?
My dear African women.
Yes.
And I love them. And I love them. Now, we have to believe in ourselves and remove whatever stereotypes that there has been about who women are, the women who are to be seen and not heard. We must forget that and make people know that we are there to do things just as much as the men are. I would tell the women to have a vision for their family. This is what saved my mother's family, our family, because she knew what she wanted for her children. She wanted education. She wanted the same treatment for boys and for the girls. And she got it. And we grew up knowing that we are just as important as the boys are. I would tell the women to avoid being judgmental. Do not judge others so much, but see the best in people and appreciate them, encourage them. We all have our own weaknesses. When you see my weakness, don't dwell in it. Look for the strength and work on it. That will build me up, and that will help. Avoid destructive cultural practices. We are in Africa. We are among our people. There are things that are going on that may not necessarily be things that are beneficial to us. For example, I see nothing beneficial about female genital mutilation. I see nothing important about having to cut my ears, and everywhere, like my mother has holes all over. I can put ornaments here without having to disfigure myself, without having body marks all over, so that that is beauty. It's not. I have seen a few of children whose bodies were being marked with needles and things hot and all that to make them look beautiful. So the people thought, and it is painful to see that. So discard those and just be happy with what God has given you, because it is beautiful. And also remember that values begin at home. The parent is the teacher of the child, whether you realize it or not. Interact with them, teach them moral issues about your own home and about the society that they are going to be in and live in. Today, there is so much communication everywhere. It's not like in the old days when Europe was so very far, America was so very far. We are no longer far. There is the internet. There is the whatever that the communication these days, and our children, some of them are learning some things that are not very good, are not beneficial to them. They've seen these things happen in the West, and for a long time we have looked to the West for direction. But I think now the West needs to look at Africa for direction. I think they are losing direction now, the way they are going. So we need to pick up whatever it is that is good from any society and take it and use it. But whatever is not good, leave it.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Leah, for your words of wisdom, and lots of them. Wonderful opportunity to hear from a woman that is experienced, has brought up wonderful, wonderful children, and who was brought up from a mother that really saw the value of educating boys and girls and not separating or treating them as different. With that, my name is Suzanne Stevens, and I co-produce Wisdom Exchange TV along with my husband, Michael K. Ginrich. We are on our way to Tanzania, then Rwanda, and down south for interviews. So if you know a leading lady that's a trailblazer, a pioneer, or a leader of many, please email us at info@wisdomexchangetv.com, and we'll research them and see if they qualify to be one of the leading ladies of Africa, a place that I definitely agree we can learn a lot from in the West. And also, if you'd like to advertise on the site, please send info@wisdomexchangetv.com, and we will also get back to you. And as I said at the beginning, this is a Ignite Excellence Foundation initiative. So if you'd like to donate, as we do provide scholarships to future women leaders, please visit igniteexcellencefoundation.org, and you can donate there or look to find out more about the foundation, as we want to create future women leaders similar to the one we met today and that we always interview on Wisdom Exchange TV. I want to leave you with my words of wisdom. There's a few that were inspired at the end there. But as mothers, we do have such an important role. Our values are dictated by our mothers. But let's not use that as an excuse. As we grow older, we do have the internet, we do have friends, we do have other influences, that we need to create our values. And remember, boys and girls are equal, and they do have their own differences. So let's celebrate the differences amongst men and women and boys and girls, because that is really what will create the future, not only of our communities, our country, but our continent. Thank you for joining us.